Hi, my name is Abigail Keel, and this is Torie Ross. And we have a third person who's been working on this project with us all semester, Hope Kirwan, but she's at a health conference in California this weekend, so she won't be here. We are Hearsay, which our tagline is "Your Stories Told Here," to give people a little clue about how to spell the name of our project. And what we are is a location-based storytelling project. So we basically go to public spaces in our local mid-Missouri community, and we ask people, any old people, to tell us stories about a given theme. So usually the theme has something loosely to do with the place that we're at. For instance, we went to the farmer's market, and we asked for people's stories about food and cooking. We went to the state capitol building, and we asked for stories about making a change. And then we display those stories on our local NPR station, KBIA 91.3. And we also put them on KBIA's website in a interactive map format so that people can look through stories and also see the locations where they were given to us. So we're just going to launch right into a story. Some other people saw this presentation the other day, so I wanted to find a, I wanted to do a different episode. Yeah, let's do Making a Change. So I'll play the beginning. This is the 4-minute show that airs on the radio. I'll play the beginning and then the first story, which is with Nicole Galloway, who was actually just appointed. Well, you'll hear actually, so I won't even tell you. Welcome to Hearsay, KBIA's community storytelling project. It's your stories told here. I'm Abigail Keel. Hearsay goes to community spaces like
the library,
the grocery store,
the bus stop,
and invites people like you to tell us their stories about
family,
learning,
faith, and growing up.
Today, it's your stories about making a change, told to us at the Missouri State Capitol building. One of the first people we ran into at the Capitol was right in the middle of a huge change, one that affects the entire state. Nicole Galloway told us about her new appointment.
Yesterday, I was announced as the new state auditor. I'm honored, and I have a solemn obligation to serve the citizens of Missouri, and I want to do that. The auditor's office is unique in the fact that the findings and the recommendations that they make can really have an impact on people's lives. When you're sending your kids to school, when you're driving on the roads, the infrastructure that you're building your business on, the auditor's office gets to make recommendations to make government work better for you. And I'm really excited about that opportunity and serving the citizens that way.
Bill Kemker loves to ride his motorcycle. He told us about how he's trying to make a change to one of Missouri's laws.
The only thing I want to change is the helmet law. It's just the right to choose whether or not we want to wear a helmet or not. I'm part of Freedom of Road Riders, a motorcycle rights organization. That's actually a big change for me because I've spent quite a few years not going into the Capitol and just out riding my motorcycle. And I saw that it does take getting up in here to get your rights back. And you've got to get up to the Capitol. You've got to get in there and speak your views and speak your mind to get into the Capitol and let them know what you say. These people in here work for you. They don't work for the government. They work for the people out here in the states. So, we get in there and we try to change their minds about what we do.
I'll go ahead and pause it there. I just wanted to give you kind of a variety of the different ways that people interpret our sort of broad themes, which is what we really like about our themes, is that they're nice and broad. So why Hearsay? What are we trying to do? The big issue that we are tackling with our project is the issue of diversity in public radio. This is a screenshot of an essay written for transom.org. Oh, thank you. Oh, perfect. Okay. For transom.org, which is a kind of public media hub. And this man wrote an essay about being an African-American man and being part of the public radio community and feeling like his voice kind of didn't really fit in with the style and the voice of public radio. And so it kind of went viral. Public media became a big topic on Twitter, and diversity in public media, NPR covered it. And so what people have been talking about is making sure that, one, there's diversity in the types of voices that we're hearing on the radio. So that's the voices of the journalists, but also the voices of the sources. And then also diversity in the types of people that public media is designed for and who are consuming and listening to public media and public radio. So Hearsay tries to kind of tackle both sides of that issue. And we do that by going out into those public spaces. We choose places that we know will have a diverse group of people. So the public library, we rode a public bus, the state capitol, all these kinds of places that we know many different kinds of people will be at. And then we approach really anybody there who is willing to talk to us, whether they're alone, whether they're with a friend. And you can see here some of the different people that we've spoken to in Columbia. So what that does is not only gets these people's voices on the radio, which is a little bit different than the voices you typically hear on the radio, which might be a professor's voice, an expert's voice. These are just regular people telling something that is important to them or a piece of their lives. But it also gets these people who might not have been public radio listeners to go to KBIA's website to check out their story. And while they're there, maybe they glance and read some other things. So like I said before, Hearsay is a 4-minute show that airs weekly on KBIA 91.3. And it's also a podcast on iTunes. Every episode gets digested into our podcast. And then the map is the other feature that we wanted to talk about today. So when you go to our page, which we also have a redirect, so if you type in HEAR, then you still get taken here, so that's good. But we have this interactive map feature, which is a map of our local community, and you can see all these purple spots are the spots that we've been. If you go south on the road down to Jeff City, then you would see our other spot down here. And whenever, you can also hover and find a specific location. So if we wanted to see the stories from the library, they would take us right here. When you click on that, when the internet is fully functional, then the photos will load of every person who we spoke with. And then you can click on a person's photo or on their name there, and you can see their picture. And then there's a SoundCloud embed directly to their story. You can also read a transcript. And then can be taken back to see all of the stories. So that's kind of how our map works. Just gives people an opportunity to choose and listen to whichever stories they want. And how we created this web app was, well, we kind of looked around at some of the features that are available for creating interactive maps, but none of them really had everything we were looking for, specifically being able to put multiple markers in the same location. So we decided to code this app ourselves with a lot of help from a man named Roman Kogelshev, who works at the Missourian. And he helped me to code this application. We used Leaflet, which is a JavaScript function for the mapping. And then we used Google Drive as a plugin, so all of the content in our map is actually populated through a Google spreadsheet. And then SoundCloud, of course, was what we used for the audio. And the best part about our app is that there's no coding necessary to upload new content into our app, which is really important for us since we're graduating seniors, but KBIA is still here, and we want this project to continue, maybe with people who don't know how to code. So that gives us the opportunity to do that. And this, you can see just a screenshot of the Google spreadsheet. People's names, links to their images, a transcript of their story. We just input all that right into the spreadsheet, and it automatically populates our map.
So one thing that Hearsay decided to do was create our own social media as opposed to hosting our content through KBIA's existing social media channels. So we're available on Twitter and Instagram at Hearsay KBIA, if any of you want to follow that real quick. So basically we did that for a number of reasons. But the main reason was so that we could control the voice, the timing, and the analytics of our social media a little bit easier than we would if we were having to go through KBIA's. But we've definitely learned that trying to create active, engaged social media following in a matter of weeks is not always the easiest thing to do. So that's something that we'll keep working on, and as we pass this project on, we hope that whoever takes it on will also keep doing. Just go through this real quick. Cool. So there isn't KBIA doesn't have a way of specifically tracking how many people are listening to our show each week. However, we do air twice a week, like Abigail said, in between two of KBIA's most popular shows, and just by word of mouth, we've heard that people saying, you know, oh, we've heard your promos, we've heard your show. Online, we've seen a huge surge in our page views the last couple of weeks, which is really exciting for us. We were at probably like 150, 160 page views just a couple of weeks ago, and we've surged to almost 700 page views. Our average time spent on the page is also increasing, which is great because that means people are listening to more stories and they're listening to almost a whole show. And we've seen an upward trajectory of how many people are viewing specific episodes as the weeks increase. So the more recent episodes are seeing more viewers, which is always a good thing to see. And our SoundCloud is how we populate the audio on our website, so that's getting increased views as well. So looking forward, as Abigail said, we really want to pass on this project. We want to continue it, and that's why we're doing things like creating a website that doesn't require coding. That's why we're creating guides for each of the shows to make sure that a full show is created each week, even without us being here. We're discussing applying for Localore, which is a grant funding project, which pairs community storytelling projects and communities across the United States together. Building our social media, like I said. And finally, when we go out into the community, we want people to tell us actual stories, which is just one of those journalistic things that you have to, you know, kind of dig into people and change your questioning, so that when I go out and ask people, tell us a story about love, they don't tell me how they feel about love in general, they tell me about a time that they were in love. And convincing people that they have a story to tell, because we very strongly believe that everyone has a story and everyone's story deserves being heard. And sometimes when you go up to a stranger in a park and say, hi, we're from KBIA, tell us a story, they're not super willing to do that, or they don't think that their voice is worth being heard. So just going out and making sure that we are diversifying the voices of KBIA as much as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you.